Okay, again, so we're going to be using Muse. Let me record them in here. So again, we're going to be using Muse. So I'm going to prepare my artwork ahead of time to bring into the Muse program. How I'm going to do that is by taking my drawings and making them specific dimensions. And in this case, inside of Photoshop, you have the most important tool again is the crop tool. It's this one right here. The crop tool can be used to make any size you want. I'm going to be typing in the 1366. Oops. Oh, maybe the other way. What was it? 768? So we need to reverse it. 768 by 1366. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my window around. I'm going to scale my window till it fits kind of the edge. I'm going to scale my window so it kind of fits the edge. So she didn't draw this in perfect, but you might have done a digital one where you have nice dimensions, right? Or something. Just make it close. Something like that. So again, inside of Photoshop, you can use the crop tool to give you the correct dimensions. You can use other dimensions. You don't have to. You're not forced into the 1366 by 768 if you don't want to. But if you do have something like I have, that's probably the easiest way to get the size you want. In addition, if you have one document, and when you're done cropping, let me finish with this. When you're done cropping, you hit the Move tool, which is this one right here. Hit the Move tool. Boom. It says, do you want to crop? You say, yes, I crop. So you have a document now. That's the size you want. And so then you're going to save it. Like I said, you save it as PNG or JPEG. It doesn't matter which one. I can go under File, Save As, or Save for Web, either one, Save As or Save for Web. Save As, and then I'm going to choose JPEG. So I'm going to save that one as Screen 1 or whatever. I'm going to call it Jeff Sample 1. How about that? So that's my first screen. Then I'm going to go back in time, right? Inside of Photoshop, you can go back in time. I'm going to go back to where my screen is full screen, right? Where I have all my drawings. So to go back in time, you go under Edit, Step Backwards. I'm back to my full thing again, right? Edit, Undo. Basically undo is what, go back in time. So then use your crop tool again. I'm going to use the crop tool again. I'm going to crop around my other drawing, crop around my other drawing. Here it is. There's my other drawing. Here's my other drawing. There we go. Crop around, crop. There we go. So once I crop around again, I click on the Move tool, and it'll ask me, do you want to crop? I say, yeah, I want to crop. Boom. So here's my second screen. Again, I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'm going to save it as a JPEG. This is my second screen, so I'm going to call it Jeff Sample 2. How about that? Sample 2. Let's go back in time. Go Edit, Step Backwards. Boom! I got all my screens again. Next, I'm going to go and crop again. And I'm going to crop. Oops, if I can get my crop tool to work. There it is. Crop. I don't like the crop tool. I like the old way the crop tool worked. And I have a friend who works at Adobe, and I was complaining to him. I said, why did you change the crop tool to this horrible way? I like the old way. It would work. So once I'm done cropping it again to the size I want, I can then save that. File, Save As. And I could call that Sample 3. Do you need me to show you how to make the correct dimensions inside of Illustrator?
Yes, please.
Yes? Okay. Let's say I did it in Illustrator. Here we go. And of course, I didn't really plan ahead because, I wasn't really thinking, because Illustrator is so easy. You just say, hey, let's make a new file. Boom, you make a new file. So here we go. Hold on, it's starting up. Slowly. I'm going to get a new laptop 2 weeks from now. It'll be faster. Just like the $6 million man, right? Faster, better, stronger. You guys from the 70s don't remember that, do you? No? Wasn't it? Faster. $6 million man, that was it. From the 70s. That was $6 million man. I'm going to get myself a faster, stronger computer. Okay, here we go. So in Photoshop, let's say you just started with print, right? You know, that's like the default setting in Photoshop, right? Print. I said, okay, boom. Here's my print document. Well, one of the first things, the problem with using the print document or the default setting inside of Illustrator is that it's in CMYK color space, right? The default setting is in CMYK. So, in Illustrator, usually you just say File, New Document, boom, make a new document, boom. So the first thing I want to do is convert that from CMYK to the to RGB. You do that by going under Edit, Color Space, or Color Settings. Color Settings. No, not Color Settings. Somewhere in here. Color Assign Profile. It's in here somewhere. Convert my color space. Color mode, document color mode, RGB, I'm sorry. So it's under File, Document Color Mode. So you want to be in RGB because when you're designing things for the screen, you want to be in the RGB color space or the red, green, and blue color space. So if you started in CMYK inside of Illustrator, I would probably do RGB. Next, I'm not going to teach you all the tools right now because you're going to have to take the class next semester. So I know I had you in the Illustrator class. I asked you to make a wireframe a couple weeks ago, right? Remember that? I don't know. I didn't really get to teach you that. I'm sorry. I apologize up front. Next semester when we do it in class, maybe I'll show you. I don't know, and then you can look at the video. Okay, let's say this is my top banner. Maybe I made some buttons, right, for my web interface. There's a button one here. Here we go. Let's make a quick button here. A quick button here. There we go. Ooh, there's a button one. Boy, that's pretty ugly. Ugly. There we go. So here's my web interface. Quick way, quick way, quick way, quick way. And then let's put little banner at the bottom there. Boom. We can make sticky banners too, right, on the web interface that stay the same and the inside content can move. Okay. So here we go. I have my layout. I have no idea what dimension this is in, right? I have no idea because I just used the default setting inside of Illustrator, right? Remember the default setting? So I have no idea. You know, we talked about pixels. We want my web interface to be 1366 by 768. So I made something in Illustrator. How do I make it 1366 by 768? The key is to change the artboard. Okay, the artboard. So I talked about artboard on the screen there just a little bit ago. There's an artboard tool. It's right here. It's called artboard. Okay, it's called the artboard tool. If you use the artboard tool and double click on the artboard tool, it's right here. If you click twice on it, it'll open up the artboard settings. Now in the artboard settings you can type in the dimensions you want, but then you say it's in PT. What is a PT? Oh my, I know what pixels are, px, right? But PT, that's a point. I'll never be able to figure out my dimensions using points. So what I need to do is convert my numbers into inches or pixels, right? So before I even go here to this window, I'm going to hit cancel for a moment. I'm going to change the settings inside of Illustrator to pixels. To do that is under Preferences. It's under Illustrator Preferences. Now, if you're using a Windows computer, Preferences of the Adobe products are under Edit, right? They're not under this option here. On the Macintosh operating system, Illustrator Preferences, you can change where it says units. Units are measuring, right? So I can say Preferences, units, and I can convert to general to pixels. Strokes to pixels. You might change everything to pixels. How about that? Hey, pixel, pixel, pixel. I think all you need to do is change the units to general pixels and it'll show up. Okay, so again, pixels is what we're looking for because we're designing for the screen. I'm going to hit OK. So now I can double click on the artboard. And, oh, I see a PX in there, not a PT, a PX. So what did I say? The width was going to be 768, and the height was going to be, what was it, 1366? Something like that, right? Hit OK. And then you might need, since we are using vector artwork, right? This is vector artwork. You might need to convert your artwork and scale it to fit. Scale it. You might need to scale it. You might have to reorganize your artwork. You might have to change your interface a little bit, or at least make it close. I think that's what we were looking at, right? In general, what I probably should have done before I started is when I am making a new file inside of Illustrator, when I'm making a new file in Illustrator under File New, what I should have done was use pixels here, and instead of using the default setting inside of Illustrator, I could have typed in my 768 pixels by 1366 and did it from the beginning, right? So that would have been better off. But hey, I know you might have just started with the default setting. I understand that. It happens. I start with the default setting all the time myself. So if you start with the default setting inside of Illustrator, change the color space to RGB, reset the artboard to what size you want, then design your piece or scale your piece to fit. Now let's export for Muse. Now let's export for Muse. So I know this is vector, and we could copy and paste into Muse using SVG. I probably wouldn't do that with this kind of example that we're doing right now. What I would probably do is just save this thing as a PNG or a JPEG and then import it in, because we're just making a prototype, right? So to save this as a JPEG or PNG inside of Illustrator, you go underneath File, Save for Web, File, Save for Web inside of Illustrator, and it goes into the web options. Don't use GIF. I would use, like I said, JPEG or PNG 24 or PNG 8. It's fine. JPEG's fine. Let's just use JPEG. Again, it's the 768 by 1366 right there. And then I'm going to hit save, and I'm going to choose a place to put it. Choose a place to put it. If I know where, I don't even know where I'm doing. Where's my stuff? Where's my stuff? Thought I downloaded something. Didn't I download something? I guess I didn't. Hold on, I don't know where I'm saving my files. You're not the only one who's confused of where they save their files to. It happens to all of us. Okay, where was I at? Oh, there we go. Oh, file save for web. Let's hit save. Let's go to desktop. Let's go to time bank. There I was. And I'm going to give it a file name. This is going to be Illustrator sample. And then, of course, it's what? JPEG.jpg. Nope. Okay, any questions about that? I know I went fast. I made a video. Okay, let's start. So we talked about preparing our artwork in Illustrator and Photoshop for Muse. If I look at my folder, you'll notice I have my picture 1, picture 2, picture 3. And then if I was doing Illustrator, I still have there's my Illustrator sample. Okay. So time to use the Muse program. To use the Muse program, again, it's only on those 3 computers up there, so you can't use it on the ones you're sitting at right now, but you might have it at your house. It comes with the whole Adobe Production Suite. Again, it's a program that writes a bunch of code that you probably don't know what it's doing, but hey, it does what it does. Now, I've already made several videos on Muse, and they're on my YouTube channel already. I could show you where those are at if you want. We did that at another class at another time. Let's just start. We're just going to do a basic. Again, Muse is a great way to make a prototype because it's an easy way to build something with interaction. The reason why you're using this is to have the interaction, right? So that somebody can test it on their phone with the clicks of the button. That's why you would use this. To start the program, again, just like any of the Adobe products, we say File, New Site. We're going to make a new site. In this case, you have several different options in the New Site window. you have a desktop, tablet, or phone. And what you can do in this program is you can make all three of them and then make a responsive site very easily, just by, you start with one and then you can add a tablet or add a phone one later. But since we're just doing a phone app, right? We're just doing a phone example. I'm just going to jump right to phone. In the phone setting, I'm going to change the dimensions to, what did I say, 768? Oh, 768 by 1366. Where did that number come from? Did she explain where the number came from? No? Okay. If you have the latest version of Photoshop, you have all the dimensions of all the different tablets as well as cell phones as well as kind of web examples built in. So in Photoshop, if you go under File, New, you'll see Web Most Common right here. If you go under Web, you got Web, Mobile App, okay, Film and Video, and Iconography. You got your icons for your Apple iPad, iOS, Android, icon. Of course, the 16 by 16 is what, like a favicon or a normal icon. So you have all that. So these are all the default settings inside of Photoshop. So to get to these settings that I'm talking about are all under File, New. Under File, in the newest version, the CC version of Photoshop, you have these preset sizes. You have Web. So that's where the 1366 by 768. I don't know why she made me do that. I don't know. Web Most Common. Web Minimum. I think it was the iPhone 6. So let's go to the Mobile App Design option and choose iPhone 6. It's 1334 by 750. Oh, maybe it's iPhone 6 Plus. No, that's a 2208 and a 1242. How about the iPhone 5S? No. 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 I don't know where she got that number, but hey, there we go. We'll come up with a number. I guess it was under Web Most Common, 1366 by 768. Sounds good. But that's where the dimensions are. Okay? In Photoshop under File, New. Okay, let's continue. So that's what I typed in here for the initial layout inside of Muse. I chose phone, page width is 768, minimum height 1366. And don't worry, with the sticky footer, I'm not even going to use a footer, so it doesn't really matter. I'm using one column with a width of 768. That's just a dimension. You can actually, think of when you're looking in Muse here, you got columns and widths and gutters. It's kind of the format you would have in InDesign, right? When I'm designing a newsletter or something in InDesign or something on a web page, maybe even now, I would have columns of information. That's sort of what this is. Now I'm only going to have one big column because I'm just putting one graphic on the screen. But if you were using multiple columns, you could choose columns and it would have the columns in there. And then you could make text boxes and have text run from one column to the next column and things like that, right? Margins, I'm going to leave all at 0, and padding, I'm going to leave it all at 0. You don't need to adjust that right now because we're just using still images. But if you were designing a site using the tools inside of Muse, you might want to give columns and things like that. So this stuff you can see, there's a dimension around the edge. Think of the margins as like the margins on a web page, right? Do you want margins? You want margin top, margin left, margin bottom, margin right? It's the same thing. Same with padding. In addition, you can use higher resolution in the program. You can use a Retina display. If you look in this program, you'll notice it says resolution standard or the high definition or high DPI 2x. Okay. which is kind of a difficult thing because when I first started using Muse, I kept using standard, which was fine. Everything was cool. I was still saving my graphics as 72 DPI, and I was like, 72 DPI, it's all great. Everything's cool. Then I tried an option with the high definition, and then I placed my 72 DPI graphic on the screen in the high definition thing, and boom, it was tiny because it shrunk it down. Okay, so we're really going to have to learn and prepare for that next semester. I don't have demonstration for that right now. I've been planning it, but I don't have the demonstration for how to deal with the high definition monitor. Come back next semester. Okay, let's continue. Hit OK. So I'm going to go with standard. Hey, I went with standard. Here's how the Muse software works. It kind of works in the old way. I mean, if you think about it, it works by it's like a combination of InDesign and Dreamweaver. That's what Muse is. It's like a combination of InDesign and Dreamweaver smashed together. So in Dreamweaver or in InDesign, usually we work by what we call a master, and what a master is where you have all the common elements on every page you put in the master, and then every time you make a new page it'll copy from the master, right? That's how InDesign makes a layout, right? You're making a book, you usually have a page number at the bottom, you might have a chapter header, things like that. Those are things I put in my master, and then they come from page to page to page to page. This program works very similar. Now, I'm not going to really make a master here because we're just doing a still image. So basically what I'm going to do is not use the master right now. If I come up here to the very top, you'll notice there's a home button right here. You got a home. I'm going to use home as my first page. So I'm going to click on the one that says home right there, and I'm going to hit design right now. If you look over here, you got plan, which is how you make pages and kind of make a flow chart. Okay, the plan is like a flow chart of how the things will flow from one page to the other. The design is how you make a page. Preview is how you look at it with the interactions, and publish is how you put it on a web server so you can test it. Okay, so those are the options you have. Right now, I'm going to just click on my home button and go to design. Again, here is a plain page. It doesn't really have much on it. It's just white, plain page. Notice how there's a little box at the top. These little blue lines, what they're representing is having a header. A lot of web apps or cell phone apps, they have maybe a sticky part. Maybe the banner stays the same at the top and the banner stays the same at the bottom, or the footer at the bottom. And so they kind of give you these blue grid lines that you can make a header and a footer and automatically have them there. And then the inside content can scroll up and down, and this can stay the same. Or they can move too. You're not stuck by that. But I'm just telling you, that's what the blue lines that you see here are, kind of just like guides that you can put in there. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to slap my picture on here. So I'm going to slap my picture on by going under File, Place. Just like in Illustrator, when you're going to place a graphic, you go under File, Place, and I'm going to choose my first screen, if I can find it on my messy computer, Time Bank. Oh, here's my first screen. I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to click in the upper corner. You can click and drag to make it what size you want, or if you made it the right dimensions, put your cursor in the upper left corner and click, and it should fill the screen. And for some reason, it doesn't quite fill. I swear I thought I made the dimensions right. It's okay. We can be a little off. I don't know what I did wrong, but hey, I'm moving on. So I have one screen. There's my one time bank. Choose a task. You need a cook, clean, yard work, drive, or errands. Right? Need somebody to pick up my laundry. You go pick up my laundry and I'll cut your grass. That doesn't kind of equal it out. How about you make me a nice, delicious, sea bass kind of meal, and then I'll cut your grass. How about that? There we go. Let's go back to the plan view. So I have one screen. Let's go back to the plan view. I have one screen. There it is. Boom. Beautiful. Wonderful. One screen. Next, I'm going to make a new screen for my second screen. Notice inside this program, and I'm sorry I can't make it any bigger. I don't know how to make it bigger right now. Maybe there's a way to make my icons bigger. Oh, here they are. Boom, let me see. Oh, there they go. They're getting bigger. There we go. Okay, so I have one screen so far. To make another screen, when you roll over a screen in this plan view, I'm in plan view. If I roll over a screen, you'll see a little plus. Boom, there's a little plus right here. It makes another screen. Oh, there's screen 2. Give it a name. Because when you program it from one screen to the other, you use the name of the file. So when I make a new screen like I just did, I'm going to go name it. How about we call it page 2? I don't know what the page is, page 2. So there we go. I'm going to go back to design view. I wanted to go page 2 design view. Why didn't it go? I maybe double click on page 2. There we go. This is page 2. To make a screen for this one, I'm going to go under File, Place again, File, Place, and I'm going to choose my page 2, and I'm going to go in my upper corner, and I'm going to paste. Boom. I have my page 2 done. See how easy that was? Let's go back to the plan view again. So now I have screen 1, screen 2. I'm going to hit the plus button one more time, and I have 3 designs, right? So let's say page 3. I'm going to call it page 3. I'm going to double click on it, and again import by using File, Place. I'm going to place my sample 3 and place it on the screen. Boom. Oof, that one doesn't fit at all. I must have done something terribly wrong here. I don't know what's going on. Okay, so go back to plan view. So again, all I did was my research. I don't know. Okay, let's go back to plan view. So again, I have 1 screen, 2 screen, 3 screen, and that's it. That's my 3 designs. So let's add some interaction. Let me pause for a moment before Okay, before we move on to putting the interaction, let me just quickly demonstrate again the copying and pasting from Illustrator, because I think that's probably one of the best things. You can make little icons or whatever you want inside of Illustrator and just copy and paste them right in there. So if I make something in Illustrator, let's say I am, ooh, there it is. Look at that, RGB. Where's my color space? No CMYK RGB. Look, it says the 768 by 13. Perfect RGB. Wow, excellent. Okay, so in Illustrator you have the same kind of dimensions you can put in. Again, try using RGB. The problem with using CMYK and making artwork for a cell phone or for a computer screen is it's going to shift. The other problem with not saving as RGB is if you're in CMYK, you can't save a PNG. You're restricted by certain file formats using the CMYK color space. So use RGB when you are making things for the screen so that you can save your artwork in the appropriate file format. Okay, let's just make a quick icon here. Let's see, what are we doing here? We want a question mark icon. There we go. Question. Let's make it a little fancier using our tool here, our shape tool here. Oh, our line shape tool. Oh, I used a brush, didn't I? That's not going to work. I used a brush for that. Here we go. There's a question mark. There's my question icon. If you want, we can put it in a box if you want. There we go. Beautiful icon. Somebody in my interface wants to hit question to get answers, right? So the advantage of using Illustrator to make artwork for cell phones or whatever you want is you can keep the vectors and change the size. So if I make my nice icon here, I can copy it by highlighting all the artwork that I just made. Hit copy is Command C on your keyboard or Control C depending upon Bill Gates or a Steve Jobs computer. Go to Muse, find which one you want the help menu in. How about the time or the time bank? There we go. In the final one, I want a question here because I'm confused. And then I paste using Command V, and it should bring it over. There it is, and it pastes it as a vector. The nice thing about pasting from there to Muse is I can scale it really big and look at the artwork, it'll still be nice and sharp and clean. Look at that. I'm going to zoom in. Look at that nice sharp. Look at the background. The other one was a JPEG. Look at it. You zoom in on a JPEG and it's all blurry and ugly, right? Oh, by using a vector, look at that. I can scale it down really tiny. Ah, wrong one. Here we go. See? And now if I zoom in there, look at that. Still sharp and clean. Well, somewhat sharp and clean. But it still keeps its dimension. So, there you go. Quick way. Again, zoom in. Look at that. Sharp and clean. Well, I don't know. Kind of sharp and clean. Let's add some interaction to our Muse document. So again, if I go back to plan view, you'll see I have 3 screens. 1, 2, 3. So in this case, what I'm going to do is make invisible links over top of my drawing. Now you can make your own links if you want in the program there's some shapes in here. There's like a rectangle tool, there's a text tool, and so you can make some basic shapes if you want in the program. But you know, that's not what we're here for. We're here, you already did your drawing. What I'm going to do is just put invisible links over top of where somebody would click. So again, this looks like it goes, if you click cook, it would go to this page, right, where the cook is. And if you click available cooks, one of these over here, it will go to this screen, right? So I'm going to go to my screen, my first screen here, my time bank screen here. I'm going to open that up. To make an invisible box is simply drag a box over top of them. You can do that by using the rectangle tool and draw a rectangle over top. So there you go. I just drew a rectangle. Again, it's over here in the toolbar. Over here in the toolbar, there's a rectangle right there. I draw the rectangle the size of what I think the person's going to hit with their finger. Right? You want it to be bigger, you can go all the way to the edge. Use your black arrow here and drag it. Here we go. You want, because a lot of buttons on cell phones go all the way from one side to the other, right? Yeah, so the whole area there would be a button click. So here's my button click. So once I put my button click in there, I want it to go to the second page, right? Page 2. So once I put my invisible box right here, I go up here where it says hyperlinks. Do you see it up here towards the middle up here? And I can click on there, the pull down menu, and you'll notice your name should show up in there. See the names of the screens I made, right? Page 2. I have home as the first page, page 2. I went to go there, boom. When the person pushes right there, it'll go to page 2. You got that? Let's go to page 2. Let's go to page 2. Page 2. So when the person's here on page 2, we want them to go to the cooks, right? So let's choose a cook. I'm going to highlight one of these cooks right here. Put my cursor over one of the cooks there, and in the hyperlink up here, I'm going to go and say page 3. Now, of course, when I'm on page 2, though, I might want to go back to page 1, right? So I don't have a button for that. You might have planned for that. I hope you did. I don't know if you did or not. Something you might have planned for. So if I'm on page 2, how do I go back to page 1? I don't know. I didn't plan. How about if they click the time bank logo at the top up here to go back to page 1? So I'm going to just do that anyways to add some interaction to my piece. So I'm going to draw an invisible box up there, go to my hyperlink up here, and I'm going to go back to home. See home? Home. Okay, so again, I have 2 hyperlinks now on here. If I click on time bank, it goes home. If I click on here, it's going to go to page 3, which is my my other page that I have, right? Let's see. Yeah, it goes to page 3. So let's go back to plan. Go back to plan. And I'm going to go to my page 3 now. I'm going to go to my page 3. In my page 3, really, I don't really have it. I want to go back to page 2 maybe. Did I plan on how to go back to page 2? I don't know. I didn't really make a plan on how do I go back to page 2, did I? Hopefully you planned on how to go back and forth. I don't know if you did or not. How about if they click on Time Bank, again, the logo to go back to the main page. They click on Time Bank to go to home, How about if they click on Available Cooks to go back to page 2? And then how about if they click on the question mark, they go to a web page for help. So let's put a hyperlink in there. So you don't have to go internal links like we're doing internal, what we call internal links, right? I'm going from page to page to page inside my app, right? But maybe they want to hit a button and go to Google or something, right? or Wikipedia, right? That's where we get all our answers. That's where the question should go, is Wikipedia. So we can go up here to hyperlink right here, and we can put in a hyperlink tip tool. Open the link in a new window or tab. Yes, that would be good. Let me think. Hold on. Files. Link to a file. Home. I know there's a way to make a hyperlink. I just have to think about it. Phone. Hyperlink. Hyperlink. Tip tools. Default link. Edit link styles. Layout. No. It's in a different area. It's not up here. It's gonna be. Hold on. I have to think. Think. I know I've gone to another link. Library. I need to add a link to the library. No, that's not what I want. Maybe that is what I want. I think I might have to add a link to the library, and then I could drag it wherever I want. Insert HTML. Okay, I don't remember. Sorry. Sure, we can figure that out later. Let's move on. Okay, so if you want to preview what you've done, go back to your plan view. Click on your first page. And then go to preview. And I'm going to click on what? Cook, right? Cook should go to, nope. And then we're clicking on which one? This guy right here, right? He goes to this guy, right? And if I click on the time bank at the top, it should go back to the main page, right? Up here. So I go cook, cook here, and I can go back time bank there. Does that make sense? Okay, so that just jumps from all three pages. So it kind of works the way I want it to work. So let's put it on the internet and test it. So now you're all going to put it on the same web space because I only have one web space. So I'm going to want you to name your file with your name so that you don't override somebody else's and you don't override my web space. So here's how I want you to do it. When you're done with your Muse, go back to your plan view here. We're going to go under File, Save As, or Save Site As. Go under File, Save Site As. And the name I want you to give it is, call it, put your last name maybe, Raskov, and no spaces, Time Bank. How about that? Raskov Time Bank. That'll be my name. So you would put your name, whatever, Time Bank, no spaces. So save your Muse file. Because what it'll do is it'll make a folder on the server with the name of the Muse document that I just named. Did you see what I named, right? So make sure you name your Muse document using File Save As. Use that name. So to put it on the internet, we're going to use FTP, right? FTP, File Transfer Protocol. File Transfer Protocol. So put it on the internet, we're going to go under File, Upload to FTP Host. Now I'm not going to give you my login and password. I will enter that info for you. How about that? So I'm going to go under File, Upload to FTP Host. We're going to put in digital-media.westvalley.edu. And then we'll put in the login name. J. Raskoff is my login name. And my password is, I'm not going to tell you. But I will help you put it on the internet for you. So after you put all these things in there, it's gonna hit next. You have Optus Store to store credentials and change. What does that mean? In browser editing, whenever a site is public, do you want to enable this function by storing encrypted credentials now? No, I don't know what that means. Oh, it's asking me. Oh, it's asking me for a site name and a folder. Oh, this is where I give it a folder, maybe. Digital-media. No, let's give it a folder name. What did I say I was going to call it? Raskov Time Bank, I think is what I was going to call it. Okay. It says Raskoff Time Bank does not exist. Do you want to make it? Yeah, I want to make it. Okay, it should be going there now. So let's go. It's going. And we're going to test it on our phone right now. Okay, so again, the server that we're going to put it on is the digital media, this server. We're going to put it on this computer right here. So the top level domain, right? The top level domain. Well, actually, it's a subdomain, right? The top level is westvalley.edu. Subdomain would be digital-media. So if we type in digital, D-I-G-I-T-A-L. What's my dash? Dash media? This is dash media dot west valley dot edu, and then we put in our forward slash. What did I say? It was going to be Raskoff underscore time underscore bank, like that. So let me stop my video here. You probably have enough info already.